Welcome to the podcast, Music Weapon of the Future. My name is Lindsay Charles, and thank you for tuning in to episode number 2. In this following episode, I have a conversation with Aaron Pranay and John Reynolds. Aaron is 29 years old, he's a husband, a guitarist. He works for Uber, he loves basketball and motorcycles. John Reynolds is also known as Rony. He's 24. He's a singer, a keyboard player, and you occasionally see him hanging out with his acoustic guitar. They are really good friends of mine, and it was a fun conversation that I had with them. This was recorded back in Hyderbad in Cabana Jam Rooms with collaboration of Peter Emmanuel. And without further ado, I want to get life updates because I haven't seen you for a long time. It's like 3-4 years now. How's
Life updates.
I got married.
That's a big update.
I got fat.
Yeah. By the way, Aaron is quite a known guitarist and is known for his signature sound, at least from me. And
For me also.
Yeah, correct. Huh?
Same.
They both know me.
And Ronnie also has been quite a good friend since long back, but I
Yeah.
haven't met. So
Yeah.
it's nice to see you again, bro.
Likewise, man.
Yeah,
Mm.
very exceptional singer, I would say.
Thanks. I think most of the time that we met, it was in fog.
Yeah,
Playing.
correct.
more
And I
or
think we
less.
also played one time with another band with Peter, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, but I remember some other band. But yeah,
I am not.
it's been a long time.
Yeah, been a while. Yeah.
So, I mean, as musicians, it was nice to play with people who had a similar kind of mindset. Yeah,
Yeah.
texture. Because thinking like previous days, those days, like 4-5 years ago, that's when I was actually, shaping my sound.
Right.
I think I was seeing you guys also shape your own sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
What
think
do
you
you-
were also doing something. You used to take your guitar and stuff somewhere and play outside
Yeah,
with an
correct,
ambient
correct.
sound. I remember.
Correct.
Mahendrals.
Yeah,
Mahendrals.
correct. Yes.
No, but those were like nice videos. Yeah.
So, how's your musical journey been? It's like, Aaron, can we start with you? It's like you've been a guitarist for a long time.
Yes.
And what has been your personal experiences growing up?
Started off playing guitar and I was in like 4th standard or something. My mom made me take classes. I learned everything, but I was not really like interested in playing guitar. So, but then everything I learned, like the fundamentals, it stuck with me. Then in 10th standard, someone saw a guitar in my house and they're like, "Arey, come, we'll jam this, that and all." And I realized, hey, you can become popular playing guitar. But yeah, I mean, that's when I actually started like picking up an interest for it. Like I wanted to play guitar, and there was this Eagles concert CD of their reunion tour. And so me and my friend were watching it at his place, and then we watched the entire show, and I was like, at that point, I want to play guitar. Like this is amazing. These guys, like, yeah, these guys are so good. So I stole that CD and took it home and watched it till it
You said
wouldn't
you were in
play
10th
anymore.
then.
Yeah, I was in 10th standard. Yeah, I'm sorry, Sunil. This is not an admission of guilt. You have my guitar. But yeah, that's where it all started. I think I was still exploring a lot of different styles. But
But Eagles was your first kind of impression.
just love those guys, man. Too good. Yeah, later on, I mean, as a teenager, obviously, I listened to a lot of Linkin Park and Green Day and all that stuff. All of us were, I suppose. Yeah, and that was fun. I went through the whole music elitism phase where we all hated Justin Bieber. Yeah, but then one day I discovered BB King and that was it for me. Like
the BB King changed your life.
Like this is more like Eagle style stuff, and this blues music is just so raw and authentic, and just feels very grounded and emotional. So just blues music just changed my life, and from then on I have aspired to be known as someone who plays more blues music. But
you do have that kind of signature sound.
I try, but also as someone who's had so many influences, I cannot. I have not narrowed it down to one kind of genre, but I think in general, rock, funk, blues.
Yeah.
This is generally where it lies for me. Yeah.
No, but as you said, you started with Eagles as your first impression, and then you moved into so many other genres, other bands. Like when thinking about it as a growing musician, it's like we didn't have so many good teachers around us, so we made these bands and these songs as good mentors, like social guitar mentors. So like which bands you specifically inclined that took out from them, or guitarists?
Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, Slash. I think I was playing a lot of rhythm guitar, but then discovered Guns N' Roses, and I learned to play my first actual solo, Knocking on Heaven's Door, and that was like
it's like a classic.
This is so good. Yeah, Slash started it off for me as to be a lead guitarist. Up until then, I wasn't really particularly sure. But then moving on to all the others, Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan. I'm a big fan of Stevie Ray Vaughan as well. Again, I'm going back to the blues guys.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. There's so many. Bryan Adams.
Yeah, I think he was one of my
phenomenal.
Also his songwriting and
lot of Sunday school music in there. Peter knows.
I think that's especially to be noted because that has been influence in
another foundation of our lives, right? I think
Sunday school.
We all learned how to play in a band from Sunday school and church. Yeah.
I think most musicians would say that it's like even gospel musicians who become quite popular and famous, like it's always in the church that gives you the freedom to just play in the church. What about you, Ronnie? What has been your inceptions?
I think that was the most appropriate segue for me because that's exactly how I started. Because I think in my 5th grade, 6th grade, around that time, mom and dad randomly came up to me and asked me, do you want a keyboard or a guitar? And I said, I want a keyboard. Just like that out of nowhere, there's no basis for that. And then they got me. So I just used to normally learn a couple of tunes on that. Tunes, not even chords, tunes. So I just know the melody line of certain things which you come on song banks on the keyboard itself. It was a small Casio 150, K150 or something like that. So then there was this one day where something was happening in church and they wanted a keyboardist. They don't desperately need one. There was some program in 5-10 minutes and they wanted someone who can fill in. And there was a small hymn they were playing, I think. I don't remember which hymn. But I'm like, I can play it. So that's when I first started and I played. I'm like, oh, you can play. And then they got me. And that's when I went back home and I started learning from YouTube and stuff. Oh, how do you start playing chords?
This platform gave you that little boost that that you can be a
because
musician.
it is always you know things and you don't have the context to put it in. And now I had the context. So as soon as I got that, I think I was able to navigate myself to learn more.
And how old were you when this happened?
It should be in my 8th grade, when I was in high school, more or less. And then, pretty much I used to just learn. There used to be a PA 50 in church, a cog. Okay. I used to like playing on that. tried to
So you
learn
started
more
on
about
the big
keyboards.
guns
Yeah.
itself.
No. I started with a Casio.
Okay.
Always, my church had Cog, not
Yeah,
me.
Okay.
So, and then that's the reason I was always inclined to Cog as well. Slowly, I started like around when I was in my intermediate. I think I bought my first keyboard like by myself, not by myself, as in like with my choice. That was Cross, and that's the one I still use. So yeah, that's been my incline, and that's how I started out. But apart from like foundation wise, it was always church music. Um, but then also got like introduced to. I always used to listen to everything. I had the metal phase going on. I was a rock guy. I used to listen to some blues and jazz as well, even though I never really understood much of jazz. I just used to listen to it. And then I think the first time what grabbed my attention was listening to progressive rock, and that was Porcupine Tree. And
Porcupine Tree.
Yeah.
That's a nice band.
So I was the first time I think it was like in a house setting where someone was playing, arriving somewhere but not here. I listened. I immediately got gripped onto it, and then I started surfing more and more. And I think that's how I think it has progressive rock has that, especially bands like Porcupine Tree, Rush, and all. They have that sound of using complex stuff, but in a very rock situation.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and I think that's what I like, and so I also slowly started like my if you think of it, keyboards is not primarily a very rock oriented instrument. Exactly. So yeah, but slowly, even in terms of singing as well, I was didn't start off as a singer, but at one point, I randomly in some VBS or something I sang. That was the first time I sang. Like people have seen me singing at home and here and there, but was not really a singer by myself. Even after singing over there as well, I never really went and displayed myself as someone who can sing. But I knew I had that voice. So one day, when you're jamming at home and you're practicing at home, one day I randomly put out a cover, and then people were like, "Hey, you have a good voice," and all. I'm like, "Okay." And then it started out as a requirement. Yeah. So I think even in church, when I was playing for Fog, I didn't start out as a vocalist. I was just substituting for keys. And then one day, they put a mic and
we discovered him.
Yes.
No, but that's an interesting thing. It's like you had an innate thing also. But what kind of development did you do on your own? Like, practicing, or did you go for some sessions to tutorials? Or because even though you had the innate ability, you had to...
of course, I had to practice by myself. Yeah. That was, when I was singing in church and all, that was more like when I just started off. It was very basic. Like, I was just doing things, what I can do. But I was never really pushing myself to do more. So, and you realize that when you start trying, when you listen to good music and like good vocalists, and then you try to impersonate them, and then you're like, you can't do it. And then, I think I tried, I never went to any vocal classes, but a lot of people tell that it's a good thing, but I never did. Same thing, I always picked up from YouTube. I used to do some warm-up exercises. I never really had the falsetto voice and I used to be scared of doing it. There were a couple of people, even good vocalists I know in town as well. There was Joshua Bulke, one guy, and just a few people who I knew. And the way that they used to practice, I used to pick up on that. So some warm-up exercises used to just try. I used to listen to something. Like if I was listening to something like Miles Kennedy or something, I used to try to impersonate them as much as I can. It doesn't go well, but
when you keep trying, that voice is quite a big level to big jump to try it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean that's what I meant. Like when you try to listen to big vocalists and then you can't do it, then you're like, oh, I know where I should be getting to. So I think it's a good thing that I had a voice which has like the depth or like the texture. But the other stuff which I am able to do, I had to learn it by myself. And yeah, it was more like trying to just be as like just doing it, not really fundamentally trying to structure it and
also
get it to
having
a way.
fun
Yeah.
with it, I think.
Yeah.
I think as musicians, I think that's definitely needed. Or like you can't simply progress without having a little fun with the tool that you're developing.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not a vocalist, but I still have fun, doing some exercises here and there.
Yeah.
And it gives you some energy, or like you develop some inner thing to like build a confidence. Or
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, or I'm wondering what the process of developing a good vocal is, because I'm an instrument player.
Yeah.
For us, we usually do lots of basic fundamental practicing and scales, arpeggios, and groove, and metronome.
Yeah.
Is it how it has been in your process of developing your
in
sound?
terms of my vocals,
like technical wise?
technical
Because you
wise,
do have a different, unique way of singing.
So I think one of the vocalists was Adam Levine. Weirdly, because I was always scared to do falsettos, like I mentioned, and I always tried to do it in my chest voice, and it never used to occur. I mean, you can't hit those notes with doing a chest voice. So I think that's when I started like trying to understand like how to shape your voices, like what's a chest voice, what's a falsetto, what's your head voice, and then you get to know those and how do you activate those. And my main process is just doing your warm-ups but being consistent about it. There are some nice YouTube videos which I know, and I just play them and follow them. And I've also realized that once you do your warm-up and you try to sing, you just immediately know the difference. So just being consistent with those warm-ups and just not like not to take a long break from singing as well. Like when you take a long break and then you'd have to start over, and that's not a good place to be. So yeah, just being consistent about it and just keep singing every now and then, even if I was in my car, or even if I'm in the bathroom, or just even if I'm practicing my keyboard, I just like you at some point or the other I keep singing in my head. And one thing I was like I was never afraid of singing. Like I know a lot of people who are even good singers as of now. They were a little scared of singing. But I was never really that. Like I was always very like, I don't care about you.
I think even that is quite a gift, because
yeah.
I don't know about you, Aaron, but I have like that slight that kind of fear suddenly comes and it sits with you, and then your throat just gets stuck suddenly. So
really that thing, I think that's something which helped me for a long time. And I think warm-ups are the best thing, Vap. Like if I am doing it regularly, I know for a fact that my voice improves. And even before tracking our singles and all, when I knew like a week or like 2 weeks before I knew I was gonna track them, I always made sure that I was consistent with my warm-ups. And I also, one more thing was improving my range. That was one thing. My range was not as good as it is now. It needed a lot of work. And how to get to that range also. And one more thing was, initially when I started off singing, you don't sing correctly. Like whenever you're singing and when your throat is hurting when you sing, that's not the right way to do it. So you start learning how to engage your core when you're singing. And the more you do it, the more subconscious it becomes. So I think when you made it a habit, your throat endures more. Yeah. And you can sing for a long time. At the same time, you can sing at a higher range.
I think it's basically like how an athlete trains.
Yeah, more or less. It's like training your muscle on how you do your instrument. It's a similar thing.
Because if you need to build endurance or to sing for a couple of hours, then you need to have that the practice and
core
regiment.
workout.
Core workout. Ab workout.
Different type.
Yeah. But by the way, I wanted to know how your relationship built, or like where did you guys meet? And because now I haven't introduced, but you guys are part of a band, or it's your band is So Much to Carry. You should go and check them out if you've seen them. Wonder is a really good song. I like the like the guitar parts a lot, the acoustic, how it starts. But yeah, let's start with how you guys met and how you guys.
We met
through some mutual friends at our youth fellowship.
Yeah.
So Rony used to come down, and then we slowly figured out that he can play. So started inviting him to play keyboard.
I used to watch his previous band as well. So, I mean, Peter was a part of his band as well.
Yeah, Peter is right behind the camera. Yeah.
Our first band, Sound Smugglers.
Sound Smugglers.
Rony was our biggest fan.
Yes.
Yeah. Rather not. But yeah, I mean, Rony kind of, he used to be around, he used to come to watch us, and then he used to come for youth fellowship, and we slowly got him on stage and stuff. Yeah, that's when we kind of got to know each other. I left for the US. When I came back...
Which year was it?
2016.
Okay.
I left for the US. Came back in 18, and then there was a Guthrie Govan concert.
Yeah.
At Moonshine. And right out of the blue, Rony texts me saying, "Bro, how are you doing? Do you want to go for the show?"
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, let's go. So we went for the show, and yeah, he had a great time, except that we were like two really short people trying to watch.
Trying to watch in front of our drummer who we were not aware.
Also, like, as fate would have it, like
Kevin.
we didn't know Kevin. Many years later, we realized it was Kevin who was blocking our view.
Yeah, so Kevin Joseph is So Much to Carry, his drummer.
Yeah. Yes, he's Kevin. But yeah, I mean, that's how we kind of reconnected, and then we've always been friends since then.
We tried some side projects as well, which didn't really.
Yeah. I think we were not ready for both musically and otherwise. I think we set the bar too high, but I mean, it was still a good idea that we had. But yeah, mostly we've been playing together in church for a really long time. And that's just how it's been working out.
The same thing with Kevin and our bassist Prash as well. Like, they were always playing together in church, and then there was a point where Kevin and I played together when they came to church, and then we met, and then just it had to happen.
Yeah.
And then coming to So Much to Carry.
Yes.
Yeah. And
when did you guys start this project?
2020.
2020, yeah.
So there was a COVID band.
Yeah.
There was a Blackstrat Blues show at Moonshine again.
Yeah.
So and by that time I had been playing with Prahasha and Kevin at YFC, and Rony kind of met Kevin. They
a
were
couple
playing.
of times. At that time, I was also... Kevin and I were doing some caroling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were having these conversations about trying out a project together, but nothing really materialized. Then we went for that show that day, and I think we were all like super inspired. And I remember Rocky coming up to me and saying, you guys should jam, like the four of you, I think you should jam.
But we already had jam.
Yeah. So yeah, we did. We had 2 sessions, and then the lockdown came.
Yeah.
So we actually wrote music on Zoom calls and
Oh, so your first
like,
song was written on Zoom then?
Yeah, there was one time. I remember that first song that we wrote was Wonder itself.
Yeah, it was mostly on Zoom.
Oh.
And it was a completely
so that's your whole writing
song
process
altogether.
on Zoom?
Just that one time, for like that lockdown phase. Yeah.
There were things that we written on, not on Zoom calls, but like individually we used to work on something and then
we would bring it to the call
and
and try to do something with it. But yeah, Wonder as you know it now was not what it was when we wrote it.
Nope.
It was completely different. The song.
It had like a upbeat.
Yeah, it was very different. But we were hating it after we played it for a couple of months, and it reached a point where we were like, okay, let's scrap this song. It's not working out.
Also.
You scrapped and then...
We scrapped it, and then I just suddenly had this idea, like, can we do it differently? We did it differently.
Yeah.
And
we liked it.
Yeah. I told the idea to Kevin.
Satisfied with what it's...
Yeah, now we love it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's a good one. And what about the other one? How's the process for that one?
Oh, that
and
was
are you guys
also
working on something new which is upcoming?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We had tracked a lot of stuff already. We have things in pipeline in terms of our compositions. The other track which we released to do so was also in a virtual basis, but not completely, because we were meeting. Like, that's when things were easing up a little. So we were meeting every now and then, not in jam rooms probably, but at our houses. So Kevin had this. I still probably have that notebook where he started writing the lyrics. So Kevin is the one who usually brings in the melody, and we sort of
so he
structure
does
it.
the...
Yeah.
Weirdly, he does.
He does a lot of the heavy lifting in our band.
Is it really?
He's the drummer, but then like he'll play the keyboard, he'll play everything else.
Yeah.
He will sing, and he writes a lot of the lyrics, and he writes most of the melody lines.
He writes mostly. I think all the choruses of every song is how the song started.
The
out,
main
like,
hooks. Yeah.
He like every song that I could think of right now, even Wonder to do so also, he wrote the chorus and we had to build the structure around it. So the context is also very random. He brings in some random lyric and I'm like, okay, from this, what can you understand and build a song on? And that's how it came out to be. But like, because we had that, just things easing up at that point, I think when we were in my house, we wrote to do so the chorus. I mean, Kevin wrote the chorus, and then we went home and I wrote the structure. And I think once they were jamming, he wrote the riffs for it. Yeah.
I to so
Interesting
kind
process.
of floored because it's a simple breezy rock song.
Yeah.
Complicated.
I think
so
rock was like the common ground for all of us.
Yes.
And it was easy to play. I mean, for like in terms of a band collectively, it's something we always clicked on. Like anything we had to play, rock.
Yeah, even that like is a foundation, and everything builds around that.
Yeah.
Mostly.
I think even in this Hyderabad scene, we've been influenced a lot by the rock genre.
Yes.
I mean, even through the new church music, it's been a lot of what can you say? Yeah, an influence of rock.
Yes.
Yeah, but talking about you were talking about going to bands and going to see gigs, like live gigs. That's an interesting thing to talk about, because in Hyderabad, not many people do that, or not many things of those things happen here. And Blackstad Blues. Can you talk a little bit about Blackstad Blues?
I was in the States, and just YouTube video recommendation shows up Blackstad Blues. I think it was E major blues or one of those tracks.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I heard that and I just started googling Warren Mendonça.
Who they are.
Yeah, like who is this guy? Why haven't I heard about him till now? Like, it's just absolutely phenomenal. I'm texting my friends and like, do you know? Like, no. It just clicked, and that just never-ending obsession still going on till today. Absolutely, all of us love Blackstad Blues. Kevin is a big fan of J-Ro Covey's drumming. I am a big fan of J-Ro Covey's drumming, and I'm a guitar player. He's just so good. Absolutely beautiful band. And
I think it was Peter who showed it to me, the first song. We were listening it on like cheap earphones, but even on the cheap earphones, it sounds so good. I was like, who is this band? Like,
there's something about
Rockstar, exactly, Rockstar, North Star.
There's something about timeless melodies that transcends any listening experience. It doesn't matter what you're listening to it on, or just. I mean, he plays it on the guitar, but if you play that melody on a keyboard today, it's still like the melody is what lives on. It's just absolutely beautiful. Yeah.
It's such a good listening experience also, and I really appreciate that they still keep making like music and you know, come out to play. And I really hope more musicians or more people who go to these kinds of live gigs.
We hope so too, because mostly we're opening for them and there's nobody there.
Yeah.
Oh, you're opening for them?
No. I mean,
That
we're mostly opening for all the outstation bands that come to perform here. Yeah.
But how's the live scene? How's the live scene here in Hyderabad? I'm not very...
Live scene is very regional here. I think a lot of good musicians, even from Hyderabad itself, are inclined to play regional, just because of the demand. I think now there are at least a few venues which are sort of promoting, calling people from outside and like giving the independent bands some stage. But it has been lacking for a while now. And even like when there are a few bands who come up to Hyderabad and like when you have a conversation with them, usually their preferences are going to Bangalore, Mumbai, Kolkata, Goa, Delhi. And that is mostly because of the lack of venues.
And also the audience, I think, has a different perspective.
Yeah. And I think Hyderabad has audience, but it's just that they are not very... I mean, once like this regional sort of phase kicked in, I think they also sort of disappeared slowly.
Yeah.
So now when like Scrat or some band comes up, people show up. A lot of people show up, but like you wouldn't really expect it, but they show up. But there are also situations where like bands come and nobody shows up as well. So it's not very consistent that Hyderabad, when someone is coming from outside, you expect a lot of people. But I don't think that's a factor from like venue was a factor for people not coming to Hyderabad. I think that has reduced to a little bit. But yeah, now there's not a lot of audience in Hyderabad who listen to stuff like that. But on the other side of it, like I think there's a heavy demand for regional music.
Yeah. And I've like the past couple of years I've been here.
Yeah.
Sorry, past weeks actually. Like I discovered there's been so many new bands.
Yeah.
Like some random names I don't even know. And when I see it's like, oh, they're producing music. Oh, no, it's just cover songs.
Yeah.
But what's your take on these kinds of things happening here in Hyderabad?
I mean, this regional music boom, it just very rapidly suddenly boomed. Yeah. I think it has to do with the rise of venues and the more accessibility to having live music. And just people figured out that, I mean, Bollywood and Tollywood music was not something people would play in a band setup before, like as much as I remember it, right? But yeah, I think people figured out that, there is a huge market for this. And so, but yeah, like listening tastes have moved in that direction more. I think people are looking for that kind of an experience more, and they can just have an easy evening out and listen to some of their favorite songs and come back home. But yeah, I definitely would like it if that led to people being more interested in listening to other kinds of music as well. I'm not saying it has to be English, but if it's independent and original, it would be really great. So I mean, only time will tell where this is going, because it's not just about the music, but it's also about it being a business. Like playing regional music is what is paying the bills for a lot of people right now. So I mean, it's the reality, right? So there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, I would encourage all musicians to do something original, creative. Have fun. Just go for it.
It brings out a different person in you, like when you're being artistic instead of just imitating something else. Imitation can only maybe, I would say, make you a better performer. But if you want to be a better artist, you need to dive into something new.
Yeah.
I think when you talk about people's listening taste, I think like as musicians, we all have that responsibility to mature their listening taste, because they are only absorbing what we're putting out to them, right? So if you're just going to keep covering the same song day after day, their growth is not going to it's not going to grow, right? Like maybe do something different, do something new, expose people to the possibilities of more original music. Maybe people will start taking more of an interest in it, and that's how the culture develops, right? Like
but personally, how has been it for you to bring out your own or what can I say, to be creative? It's like personally, what has been your development?
I think we always had it in us, and we were just waiting.
Is it the distaste of trying to?
Not really distaste.
Not really. See, like once again, we don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with all the regional music that's happening, except that we're not getting gigs. But that's a different thing, right? I think personally, as a musician, I always wanted to be in a band and write original music and such. And I think all four of us found common ground there. Yeah. We wanted to do something different. Even if we're covering songs, we try to
put
our spin on it. Yeah. Like we want to make it unique and different. We just don't want to play it exactly like how it is. So that's just always been our thing, reharmonizing, just writing new music. Four of us, I think we had a lot in us. We wanted to put it out there. So fortunately, we all agreed. We were on the same page in that front, right? And we did not care about mass appeal that much. We didn't. We knew what we were getting into, and we were getting into.
We knew for a fact that we won't get a lot of gigs, or we might not be having active listeners at the moment. So, and we were okay with it.
Yeah. So being an independent English rock band from Hyderabad, I think we knew that we were going to have like 10 listeners, and that's how it's going to be. But we didn't care. Like we had to be true to ourselves, and that was very important. We had to put out things that we felt and that were really inside us. So it was necessary for us to be honest with ourselves.
But I mean, in this day and age, you never know who's how or it's gonna grow or who's gonna listen to it. It's
I mean, I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, music is quite personal thing.
I think we had some standards that we set for ourselves as to how we want things to sound, and where do we compromise and where do we not. And I think that's why when we even when we produce or when we make music, we wanted it to go beyond that standard for us to be okay, then we are going to track it. So it was just us being creative and us being true to our values, more or less, than thinking
it's also
about
like the
external.
different influences for all of us. So like the prog rock and blues and such. So if we write a song that's basic, it's okay, we write the basic song, and then now we sit and take it apart and say maybe we can play with the time signature here a bit, we can do something here and there, and so sit with those ideas, work on it, just try to be different and original.
But it's like how Kevin is doing here. He's also being part of the writing process.
He's the main part.
The main
part. Yeah. I think he
actually, because that was my main question I wanted to ask. Like, what's your who writes the songs and how does the process looks like?
Kevin has melodies in his head.
He gets the wheels rolling. And then we take it from there, kind of. And Prasha always has creative ideas on how to make it sound slightly different tempos or time signatures and such. Like he's a little more of a technical musician, and he brings that interesting element in there where we can, it doesn't have to be 4/4.
Also, he likes to keep things interesting.
I think we'll probably look at it from a melodic perspective, but then he will being a bass player, he loves to
rhythmic and
yeah, he'll stand right next to Kevin and stare into his soul and make sure he plays all the fills correctly. But yeah, I think they discuss a lot of time signatures and things like that, and chords as well. Prasha's chord knowledge is crazy. So it'll never be like a C major. It has to be something little more advanced than a C major, and we're always like, we're happy to learn that also from him. So just I think we all fit like pieces of a puzzle to make it work.
Interesting process. I mean, usually bands have this unique thing because of the how they are built and how each person influences each other, and that mutual thing that happens is like that's the whole thing about why bands keep making music or don't make music. It's like if the influence is going good. Okay, now I wanted to talk a little about how you guys manage as a musician. We don't usually have enough funds to do music stuff.
We still don't have enough funds.
Please.
I mean, money is a big role as musicians.
Huge.
Huge, because I know Aaron, he's a big gear guy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. No, I mean, me too, because I'm in the gear business itself. So, yeah. What's your?
I think
because you guys are also working. If I'm not wrong, you guys are also working in other jobs.
Yeah, that's the main reason. I think that's what kept us going, because all the funds that we get from the band was initially, at least, was from out of our pocket. So Prasha's working, Aaron and I both are working. So we used to. Kevin also is working part time. Full time, I don't know, to some extent he's working.
Freelancing,
But also, thing is, Kevin used to play with other bands as well. So he had that sort of income while we had like the corporate sort of income. So we used to always, like every month we used to pitch in some amount, and that started off our writing process and used to pay off for the jam rooms and things like that, like when we used to. Also, I think initially when we started jamming in jam rooms, we paid out from our own pocket only. So we had funds set up for like marketing and
So the goal was to track the songs. And the whatever money we were all pooling in together was for the tracking. So that was the thought, and we all agreed on it. So we didn't again pull money from that fund to pay for rehearsal sessions at jam rooms and such. But so we didn't quit our day jobs. Once again, like I said, we were realistic about what it's going to be like. So
we didn't have gigs also back then. I don't think we did
gigs for a long time.
We performed anything for a long time.
So
it was just fundamentally doing our right after COVID was out. I knew we practiced a few covers and put our spin on it and things like that, but we never really performed it anywhere. Nor did we have like a great opportunity to. Also, to some degree, we were not ready for pulling off a 2-hour show, things like that. So I think like our primary goal was tracking, like he said. So we sorted out funds for it, and then
I mean, this basically out of pocket, man. You have to invest in the band. Because of the goals that we had, we just didn't want to play shows.
And you guys also producing it by yourself. These
so we had to produce it.
I mean, to define it like produce, we don't have a producer and such, but the four of us we agree on what we want it to sound like, and we tell the mix engineer these are our ideas. So I'm sorry, I might be confused with the definition of produce.
I mean, it's musical context is quite...
We had 2 different people mix our last 2 tracks. But we get on calls and talk about how we wanted it to sound like, send some references across, and we had like 11, 12 mixes every time until we got to our final mix. Listen to our songs till we're tired of it.
4 people are making a decision, it takes time.
5 actually, if you include the mix engineer. But It was fun.
I think we learned a lot from the first track. And then the second track was like the first track which we mixed was Wonder, which we got mixed. The second one
was to do so.
And that I mean from what we learned to how we took it to the next place. We were like, okay, comfortable into how we put across our ideas to him and things like that. But and the second part was about the finances. Once we started like gigging a little, and every income that came into the band from the band stays with the band. So
yeah, we didn't split our earnings between us.
It's-
It went straight to the band fund.
yeah,
Because we had the goal. The goal is still to be achieved. But
Yes.
so money from gigs went into the band fund. We paid for video shoots and stuff. We've also been fortunate enough to have people who helped
Like
us
to help
out. And Nikhil shot our video for free. We only had Nikhil. We just had pay for rental and all of that stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to know that people still believe in what we do. Just at least if there are a few, but still, we really appreciate it. And yeah, with the good graces of all these supporters, we're able to somehow take it forward.
Yeah, especially like these kind of crucial decisions you need to make in the starting to keep it going. I mean, that's, you guys will appreciate it later when you look back, because you just started out. And
I think we were not in a hurry. That's also one important part, because I mean, we were like, for us, even when we're telling 3 years now, it's not like a big deal, because we know what our end goal is. It doesn't matter how long we'll take to achieve it, we'll get there.
Yeah, that's a
we didn't try to force it.
We need to hear what is the end goal of.
As of now, in the short term, at least, to have like, the album that we had want to release, we will release it.
Yeah, and hopefully play some more shows.
Yeah.
Hopefully outstations.
Outstations, yeah.
So that is like the short-term goal. And yeah, we just want to see how we organically grow as a band. We're not trying to force it.
Yeah.
And that's why we took a while to get out there. But we're happy with it.
Absolutely.
We did it in our own time. It's fine.
We did it.
Because nowadays it's there's a lot of pressure to
Just do it.
Yeah, so many things like you have to do, and you have to maintain this consistency and all
Yeah.
that. I know consistency is important, but also I think when you make it a mechanical process, then the creativity goes out the window. So we prefer not to put way too much pressure, although I'm the guy who's always nagging everyone, reminding them of deadlines and the calendar and
So you're like the mother of the band.
schedules. I don't know, man, but everyone knows that when I'm the one who'll remind everyone that this is due, that is due, and all of that. Yes. Okay, bro. Mother Aaron.
Yeah. Some, some things are so common in so many bands. You can instantly find out certain things. Like, oh yeah, this guy takes care of the band. Oh yeah, that guy splits the band.
Okay.
Aaron is the eldest.
Yeah, okay.
Is that why it is? I don't know. Well, you're irresponsible children.
I know if Kevin was taking it up.
Oh, no way. Yeah.
So,
Sorry,
it's
Kevin.
in the best hands.
But yeah,
Prefer to be
personally speaking, I'm thinking more of to ask you guys, what has been your... We've seen a lot of ups now, but what has been your downs in your, let's say, maybe not just musical life, but your personal life, which affects your music and how your creativity comes out?
You write a song when you're down, bro. Just kidding.
So that's how you get your songs out. You get down and your song comes up.
Downs, okay. What do you think downs in terms of band were?
Downs in terms of bands were playing a lot of shows for free. Not getting any guest list or even like even food. Yeah, I mean, we've done a lot of social service in that regard. So I think but we were patient, little impatient also, but we had to talk to each other and convince each other that it's gonna take a while. It's not gonna start from day one. But the thing is, we played a few free shows before we finally got paid for something, and even then, pay is not the same for a band like ours compared to
absolutely.
a regional band. I mean, I get that's how the demand works, right? So it's another realistic aspect that we have to accept.
Yeah.
So yeah, downside that, and then COVID, where we had long gaps where we wouldn't get to jam and such. Yeah, That would be mostly it. I don't think we've had many major downsides. Do you want to talk about Goa? Oh wait, no,
Happens in
the other audition, right? The first one.
First one.
For the IIT thing.
Oh my god. Oh, that was not a down for us anyway. That was a down
it
for
So you
was-
guys played in Goa, had a gig in Goa.
No. There was a
Battle
of Bands,
Bands.
prelim round which is going on. I don't remember.
Hmm?
Which one was it?
The first one was IIT
Something.
Kharagpur or something, yeah.
Yeah, and they barely had any equipment. So
Oh.
I think like we tried going for it, but then
It
I was
an
so glad that I didn't
eye-opener.
get.
It was an eye opener in terms of like how
Where we started.
how you all think you've seen the worst setup in your lives. You haven't.
No, you haven't.
This sound guy shows up with one speaker.
Oh,
That's just one speaker. It's like this tall, and it puts it on the right side of the stage, and that's all. You
And the
have.
drummer.
No
I mean,
power boards, no mic
I didn't have a power
stands.
board.
Sheesh.
So I took my guitar and my keyboard, the acoustic guitar and the keyboard. I didn't play either.
Yeah, there was no mic stand, so
There was no mic
Ronnie couldn't play keys and sing, and then
Nor can I play put the
so
guitar on
the
it.
judge was like, hey, start playing, what's wrong? And time out in the ante, we were like, there's no mic stand. It's like, so hard, do something. And that's when I think one of the rare times I saw Ronnie got pissed. Like he was furious. Okay, then he takes the mic, he turns to us and says, okay, let's play the 3 songs that we have that don't need keyboard. Yeah, I mean it was insane. The drum kit was falling off the stage. So while
the
Ronnie
drum
was
kit
singing,
had like a Michael Jackson sticker on the kick drum. And the way I used to play, I had to put one leg on
he
the.
put one leg on the
kick
kick
drum.
drum while
And
he
then
was
the
singing.
While
was
singing.
sliding off.
I was sliding off, and yeah, and I honestly didn't care at that point. At that moment, I'm like, I don't need to. I just want to sing and get out of here.
We were
I don't
very-
even want to get
And
through
how many
this.
bands were there in the?
There were
There were
a
a few
handful
actually.
of bands.
Yeah.
Five, 6 bands.
I guess all of them had the same complaint.
We
I
left
have no clue,
immediately
man.
after that. Like we did
We
not
had
want.
to catch another gig right after. We went to Tejas right after.
Yeah, we went to watch Tejas. I think that just
well,
washed away
yeah,
all
yeah.
the bad experience. We had a great time watching Tejas.
Yeah.
But it was like we were so bewildered. Like such things also happen. What like?
It took. I mean, I was taken by surprise. Yeah. The second one, I think the Goa one, we tried for.
The auditions were better than the preliminary round. That's
Yeah,
all
the
I'm going to
auditions
say.
were
Amazing.
crazy.
We randomly went to this audition. Like we just had one rehearsal the night before.
Yeah.
We were not expecting much out of it, thanks
I
because
think
of how our first audition went. So, but we ended up playing like the best show we ever played. Like I feel like we
And it
never.
was
It
super
was so
organic.
fun and
Didn't
breezy,
matter.
and nobody was rushing us. We had a blast.
And you had the equipment that you need.
Yeah,
actually,
and we were using some random earpieces because we didn't know we had to bring our in-ears, and even
No,
then
I didn't get to use an earpiece because Kevin or someone forgot. I gave him mine, and they also had monitors as well. Before that, there was one speaker. The previous round,
I mean that compared to the one speaker that the previous gig had.
yeah. So I had to go through monitor. He went through in-ears. I think everything was sorted.
I don't know how the mix, just everything aligned. We had such a great show.
Yeah,
randomly.
yeah.
And no, we didn't even ask anyone to come watch us because it was not a show.
People came.
like-
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, those kind of shows are actually memorable. You know how much you enjoyed and you
Yeah.
Mhm.
had a good time playing your
It's fun.
own songs. Yeah. Well, it's fun
I
times.
think we've drifted. I forgot where we
Downs.
the question. Downs.
Yeah, that down the
Not-
second
But
one.
like even,
not too many,
not
man.
Just
I
not as a
mean-
bands, but even personally, like in your own lives, because music has been a part of your
Yeah.
life for most of these
Hmm.
years.
Interesting. Downs.
I think probably when Chester Bennington passed away.
Yeah, that was
That
Then
was,
also we sang, right?
That was heavy emotional for me. We did the cover on one of his
Yeah.
anniversaries later.
I had my head shaved off.
I think everybody from our generation for sure
Yeah.
idolized Linkin Park and Chester, and it was just hard hitting.
Yeah, growing up, like the Linkin Park songs and his songs were like so everywhere. You could
Even
listen to
people who
everywhere.
don't listen to heavy music would listen to Linkin Park.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have that aura.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about not music related. How's it been living in Hyderabad?
Bro,
Because Aaron, you said you stayed in US also, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I came back because I love Hyderabad so much. I'm not even kidding.
I mean,
love
bro,
it
it's a
here.
breeze, bro, living in Hyderabad.
Yes.
I agree.
Such a.
I mean, except traffic nowadays, but we
Nowadays.
can still figure out ways to
Yeah.
stay at home.
And I think it's super, 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 super
And even
comfortable living
like
in
the
Hyderabad.
people and environment is like quite chill and relaxed. Yeah.
We like Hyderabad. I love Hyderabad. Food is amazing.
What's your
Clearly.
guys' favorite?
Yeah.
Your go-to food when you
Metro.
just finished your gigs.
Aaron is the closest to the favorite fast food center
Metro.
that is Metro Foods.
Metro.
Yeah.
We love Metro shawarma.
Anything
And
Hyderabad.
fast food. But yeah, we also like to go. So Pasha
Biryani.
lives near the older
Madnagar.
side of the city.
Mhm.
So go have biryani.
It's not
and
the other side of the city.
close to the older side of the city.
Older
is what
side
I
of the
said.
city, yeah.
Not the other side. Yeah. Biryani there is amazing. Just, most restaurants.
Of course, like we can't. You can't.
Food is
bring that
great.
down,
People
yeah.
are great. Weather is great. I don't know.
That is great sometimes.
Friends are great.
That is not so great also sometimes.
It could be worse.
Yeah.
Could be worse.
But yeah, it's good. It's comfortable. Everything is convenient. I mean,
Yeah, I think so.
We sound like
It's
we're
in the
just like
palm of your
way
hands
too
also.
comfortable in our little bubble here, enjoying life.
No, I think I agree to this city being such a, compared to other cities, I would say. And even living in Oslo for about a year now, whenever I come back, I feel so like chill, relaxed. Nobody gives anything about anything, and you can have the best food. I think that's the biggest advantage here.
Yes.
It's no lack of good food.
yeah.
Clearly.
Clear.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else that you want to add or talk about?
So tell us what you've been up to.
Uno reverse.
Me. Yeah, so I'm actually currently on holiday. So a couple of weeks more.
Wait,
and
I
I'll
have to
be
ask, like, sorry, do you still have that crazy bass guitar that
The
there?
maroon color.
Like, that
I
is like
still have
a
it.
visual disassociation whenever Lindsay
Yes.
plays, because he has this crazy metalhead looking guitar, but
Yes.
then he'll be playing gospel music. Like, just not.
That's been there since I think it's been 10 years now. Since
That's
that guitar.
crazy.
Yeah, and you know what? I've when I was coming back, I decided I have a very sentiment connection to it now.
Okay.
Because last year when I went, or 3 years ago when I went, suddenly my uncle called me and like, Kripal, he's like, you have that bass guitar which you used like for many gigs. He's like, can I borrow it? I want to record with it. It's like, what is this?
Wow.
Such a, it's like
Nice.
a bad shape. Bad shape. And he was like, I really like how round it is. He's like, okay, take it. And since then, it's like, okay, I want to now, since he's gone,
You could stab someone with that guitar.
Yeah,
It
it's
had some
quite
sharp edges.
Sharp edges.
I think I have it.
Insane.
I think it's over here. Yeah, and what I planned to do with it was to upgrade it.
Hmm.
So I put in a Bartoloni preamp
Nice.
and I changed the pickups and stuff. So it's now an upgraded version of the old Lucky Star.
Nice.
Was it Lucky Star?
Yeah, it's called Lucky Star. Lucky Star bass.
Sounds like a hotel in Old City.
Exactly, that's right. It's like 10 years, like every gig I used to play, like somebody was like, what is that?
Seriously,
What
man.
guitar
Like,
is that?
Lindsay would confidently walk up with that guitar everywhere. Why?
No, because actually, like growing up, for me, I believed in like any guy or any person can take any tool and be good with it. So like that was my kind of a belief. So
That
it
is
didn't
true.
matter to me what tool was in my hand. I just wanted to master to its level, because every tool has its certain level.
Capacity,
It can
yeah.
be a capacity. Yeah, so that was my idea. And now
I
I bought
agree.
another one. So
Mhm.
I'm quite happy with it. Bought a Spectre
Nice.
Dimension 5 bass.
Nice.
It's deadly.
For that fact, if we really talk about the guitars and stuff, Aaron also is still using the
Oh
same
yeah,
old
oh,
PV
he still has the
one.
PV. I think I had
Yeah,
that.
I still have the cross. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to get it in there.
15 years now, I've had the same guitar, yeah.
Actually, he's pretty much happy with that guitar.
It
Like,
looks-
he doesn't
He had a what is it called?
Explosion.
Epiphany.
Segue into the gear. The gear. Yeah, fine.
The gear.
If I'm visible, it's fine.
Do we look wider?
The gear. The gear. The musicians.
Yeah. The reason why your wallet is
Yeah.
always empty.
The musicians curse. The gear.
gear.
I mean, yeah.
You have to start with gear.
I've been obsessed with. I mean, every guitarist is obsessed with gear, so that's just by default it comes.
Yeah.
But I kind of been obsessed with having an analog pedal board since as far as I can remember. So
With the difficulties that come with it.
yeah,
still carries
it has.
But
its
it
own
always
challenges.
starts or ends with the sound. It's like that's the sound I want. That's the sound I want.
Yeah,
And you
I
chase
mean,
after it.
yeah, everyone I'd look up to, all these guitar players would have these crazy analog boards, and for me it was a mystery, and they looked so cool and they sounded so cool, and I had to unpack what was going on, and we are. Now it's a little better, but back then we didn't have access to gear that much, so it was all just watching on YouTube and figuring out what it would sound like. But yeah, the dream was to have my own analog pedal board. So when I was here, I couldn't buy much, but when I went to the US, I definitely got started on it. I mean, I was so committed to building a pedal board. Like I didn't buy anything else. I came back with the same phone that I took to the US with me for 2 years. I didn't buy an iPhone or anything. I spent it all on pedals. Yeah, this mostly again blues influenced stuff. Started off as wanting to have like these drive pedals and stuff, and then you learn more and more on how you need like an amp simulator or such, or you need an amp. So it was about how to achieve that fullness in the sound that I wanted. So slowly, one by one, reverb.com, like you could buy used gear over there in the States, right? That was just a blessing for me. And I even traded sometimes, like exchange pedals for other ones. It was a lot of trial and error and such, but I loved it. And the thing is, like, if you buy a processor, you have a processor and 2 cables and you're good, right? Like, but with this, like, it doesn't end with buying 4 pedals. You need to buy all the patch cables, and then you need to buy all the power cables, and you need to have a good power supply. Initially, I used that daisy chain power supply, and then one day at church, the mix engineer muted me and said, "Bro, it's just too noisy. I can't have you." And like, so I bought a power supply, and then you have to put all of them on something, because then you have to get a board. I bought like an IKEA shelf panel from IKEA, and I painted it and stuck Velcro on it, and that was my first pedal board. Lot of DIY stuff, lot of learning pedal order. I think that's something that
Let's
today,
talk about your pedal board. What's the first thing that he goes in?
tuner.
Classic.
Yes.
Getting the RP33.
RP33.
You're talking about my first piece of gear. Yeah, so I had like this Digitech small digital processor. Peter remembers because in Sunday school we fooled around a lot with that. It was crazy, like this tiny box, and you get all kinds of insane sounds out of it. But I held on to that for as long as I could until it fell apart and I really couldn't salvage it anymore. But I miss that. I mean, still today, I wish I could have the convenience of just pushing one button and switching. But this is the life I chose, so I have to tap dance on stage every time I have to change.
Oh, you have a drum.
Oh yeah, there was a drum, programmable drums in that pedal. And we used to threaten Peter that if he played too loud, we'll kick him out and use the drums from this. Yeah. I have pretty fairly decent setup. A basic couple of drives, couple of delays, one reverb, and one modulation pedal that covers all your chorus and flanger and phaser and all of that. Of course, I'm always planning my upgrades. I have the next board already mapped in my head, but yeah, as of now, it's always wanted to see what I could sound like.
Yeah.
I had rough ideas of what kind of tone I wanted. I never tried to emulate anyone's sound, but
So it was more like a discovery.
it was just me discovering what I could do. And this is going to be very controversial, but I'm going to say it anyway. Like guitar players out there, stop trying to sound like your favorite guitar players. Try to play like them.
Such like good piece of advice.
Try to play like them, learn the techniques, learn the phrasing, all of that. But the sooner you stop trying to sound just like someone else, the sooner you will start to discover what your sound is. Yeah, just stop. I mean, if you don't like it, just like the advice, don't shoot me later. But I personally have never tried to sound like anyone. Always trying to discover what I can sound like. Of course, you have a rough idea of you want this much of gain and crunch, or you want this to be your bass tone and build on it and such. You get inspired from other people's sounds, but I personally never tried to sound like anyone else. Always trying to see what I can sound like. That's been my philosophy. It is very financially draining, guys. So before you get into this, think twice. You will not have money for other things.
And there's so many.
The reason I've been using the same guitar for 15 years is not for sentimental reasons. I cannot afford another guitar. No, just kidding. I love my guitar. It's so easy for them. They have one keyboard and it's done.
It's like
his only expense was the adapter that he has to keep changing, and probably once he bought a new stand.
But you know what? Nowadays, these keys guys also are getting going
keyboard
MIDI.
players also run through guitar pedals.
Yeah, I've seen.
Yeah.
Like, I first realized it when he shot out an organ tone from his
Organ tone.
organ.
Kind
No,
of
I
like
think
it
he
was
said,
a rotary speaker
I see.
tone.
Okay.
And I think that rotary speaker is synonymous with an organ sounding tone. So
and
it was a
he
lot of
played, I'm
discovery.
like, sorry, you don't do it. I do it.
But you still use the...
I still use a Korg cross. I was having. I think like before I even purchased it, right? I played. I played different keyboards.
Mhm.
Like I played in church. I played in a few other churches as well. I played with friends who have keyboards. I've always and they keep telling me like Yamaha is a good keyboard. Like you should surf more in Yamaha and things like that. I never really appreciated it as much as other people did, I guess.
Mhm.
So I was always inclined to Korg, and not comfortable also, but I don't know. I just always love the sounds. Even I think Peter was one person who told Yamaha piano sounds are really good and things like that.
I mean, they had... from my perspective, I would say they had a standard.
I
But Korg always had a standard.
I think also the other thing is Korg also had
Those,
for me, if I wanted a really good Yamaha keyboard, I had to spend a lot. But Korg, I think with the price I bought Korg Cross for, I would not get a really good Yamaha keyboard if I'm not wrong. At least at that point. So for me, it was like a no-brainer for me to pick this. I had this or like another Roland in my mind, but I just picked this. But thing is, I was never not comfortable with the sounds I had. I think there's a lot to discover even in my keyboard itself, even now, that even after playing for a long time. But except for the piano sounds, everything else, I think I am actually super sorted with. And if you think about my tracks and all, like everything I've
Except
tracked
you don't
with,
use the piano. Except
I
the
don't
piano
use the
music.
piano sounds
You need
much.
to get a Yamaha just for that piano
No,
sound.
no. But like,
See, if
it
you were a
cuts
guitarist,
through.
then you would do something like that. Because like, I just need that specific overdrive sound that doesn't
I
sound
want
like any
it,
of the other
but
overdrives. So
It's
now I'm
not
going
a
to buy another
deal breaker
pedal.
for me. It's either too low or too high. The keyboard sounds. That's very annoying. It's just not gradual. It's just too sharp or too like muddy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I hate that. But apart from that, everything else, like all the electric pianos, organs, everything that I played with, they have such a wide tone,
Mhm.
and everything can cut through, like in a mix and all. So I never felt the necessity for me to upgrade.
Mhm.
Also because I didn't unlock its full potential yet either.
Oh.
Because
So you have a lot more to explore.
I know, and it's just the lack of discovery that I did on that. But I think I'm super happy with my keyboard. And in fact, I was talking to, like, we opened for a Malvika Manoj recently, and she has the same keyboard as well. So we were talking about that. And I've seen the same keyboard. And she also was like, I don't want to lose this keyboard. And I've seen the same keyboard with Soulmate's keyboardist, and we had a chat as well. And like everybody appreciate the
There's
tones which are
something
there in
about
that.
it.
There's something about it.
Yeah.
And
It's
it also
not
handle.
everything, but there's something. It has a handle. You can carry it
Use
like a
it, yeah.
briefcase. I think that's like the
Yeah.
most. All keyboards should
Should
have that.
Yeah.
I think
mean,
it's
at least
super
the smaller
carrying like
ones.
this and
Yeah.
going.
Yeah, and it's also super light, easy to take it anywhere you want.
Actually, the size of a MIDI keyboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that
It'll
big, but
weighs a little more, but it's the same size, right?
Yeah. But I've been super happy with it. But I recently bought a sound card, which my band also doesn't. Only Aaron knows. So I wanted to try to explore more sounds and things like
Go
that.
through plugins and
Yeah. So yeah, pretty
I
much.
mean, nowadays in this Hyderbad scene, it's been all plugins only.
Yeah, because I've seen a lot of, like, even when so Emmanuel borrows my keyboard. Emmanuel, shout out to Emmanuel who borrows my keyboard. you owe me some money.
Like a reverse shout out.
Owe me money for keyboard rental. Just kidding. Anyway, so I think, like, for him, like, whenever he takes my keyboard, this is the point that he makes. He's like, bro, you can just plug in your keyboard and play. You don't have to put in any other wires. Like, I have to plug in. I have to set. I have to put connect it to my laptop, and then when you're having a MIDI and you're having to
all
carry
that,
it, and then something might go wrong. But
I
it's
think
too convenient
that's
for
the
me.
biggest
yeah.
fear I have with even like when I'm building my own preamps and this stuff in the bass guitars. It's like I can't trust that it's gonna fulfill the whole gig. It's gonna be there for the whole gig. So yeah, I understand.
I had a few, like, there were a couple of times where my keyboard, like, I had to give it for a couple of repairs and stuff. And I was like, oh my god.
It
please
was
don't.
scary for Ronnie. It was like sending his child into surgery
No.
because I could literally see the tension on his face.
There's this one guy in Maratpalli only who does it, and he removed, like, Corcross has this different weird pin which I never seen, and he, without even my consent, he just removed the
Power pin.
and he put a different one which is sort of more universal. And I had my doubts, but I did this repair like 4 years back, so
Still works.
yeah. And in fact, it's a good thing which he did, I guess, because they are not making those adapters anymore. So for me, if I were to lose one after at a later point of time, I would not have gotten one. Or if I did get one, I would not have trusted that adapter as much.
Yeah, because there are certain
Should have
products.
gone to Koti and get one.
The adapters are never reliable, right?
Yeah.
Like every 3 months I'd buy a new adapter.
Yeah. Like if you don't get the original products.
You don't actually. It's very difficult
Yeah.
to get like the
Yeah, that's
original. So they'll give you that Panasonic cordless phone adapter.
Yes.
I still like this is the voltage is similar. Just take it and then it would work for 3 months.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Those sometimes.
I remember when we bought for RP pedal.
Yes.
The same.
We bought from RP Road.
RP pedal from RP.
RP pedal. True to its name.
Yes.
That's my gear.
That's it.
That's my gear for now.
Keep it simple.
But we haven't gotten to your signal chain and what all you're using. We'll put a snap of your...
Yeah, probably. Let's see if I remember. Tuner, first overdrive, second overdrive, third distortion pedal. I just put it on my board to fill the space, but I don't really use it. Is like an extreme distortion thing, and I don't play that genre of music. Goes into my amp simulator. I have a Strymon Iridium. It's really great. I think technology has changed.
I'm a big fan of Strymon.
Yeah, that's the only Strymon pedal I have. Again, I'm really glad that technology has changed, that you can have an amp on your board now, sounding more realistic than they used to before, right? So the Iridium sounds great. Going into modulation effects, true delays, reverb, and out. Yep.
Cool.
I don't use like extensive delays and reverbs. I occasionally use modulation, like chorus and stuff.
Yeah.
If I feel.
Have you tried changing the positions and seeing which, or you just want to stick to this?
I have gone through many signal orders, signal chains. Yeah. But I think right now this is working for me. In the back of my mind, I've had a tweak that I've been wanting to do for a while, but like I haven't gotten around to it. But yeah, I want to put the modulation before the amp and see what that sounds like. But yeah, we're always trying out something or the other. Yeah, for me the main meat of my tone is from my amp sim and the overdrives.
Yeah.
I just season with a little bit of reverb and delay sometimes. I know I played a lot in church, but you can't call me a praise and worship guitarist because I don't use all those reverbs and delays like you're expected to. No, I don't. Yeah, I do not dot my eights. Sorry. I think that's like the old school blues guy in me. You can put a picture of it.
Yeah, I'll put a snap of that.
Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, it's got a big pedal board though.
Planning for a bigger one, but let's see.
Why not?
Why not?
But yeah.
So much to carry.
Yes.
So much to
be true to the name. So.
Yeah, talking about the pedals, I remember we had a side thing going on.
We had like this huge business idea that was going to change the world.
Yeah.
But then Lindsay had to go to Oslo.
It was actually a good 3 months, 2 months.
Yeah. So
a lot of planning, a lot of talking, a lot of things.
Yeah, being very passionate about pedals, I was exploring how if we could build them here. Also, being very frustrated for not having access,
especially
to
here
pedals
in Hyderabad.
here. Yeah, if you're in Mumbai or something, it's a little better. But in Hyderabad, nothing. They'll give you that Zoom.
Yeah,
Zoom
B1,
pedal,
G1.
G1 or whatever. Yeah, so I spoke to Lindsay. We were very interested. Lindsay even made all those circuit board diagrams, and
Yeah, I did.
About the prototype which you showed me.
No, it's actually not a prototype. So the thing is, we wanted to first, or Aaron came up with this idea of why not building your own pedals, and I was like, why not? Yeah, like
Lindsay has always been a why not guy. Like he's always open-minded to ideas. So he's like, of course we should try. Why not?
Yeah, it's like, so you know what? First thing I asked, like, okay, why not I open your pedals and
I was okay with that.
And that was
him.
surprising thing is like, okay, he said, yeah, sure, why not? He gave me like 3 pedals, I think.
You have to learn if you want to make. So I gave him a couple of my pedals. He opened them up and
I made the whole circuit
copied
diagram,
the circuit diagram and all that. And
explored stuff.
Yeah.
It was a good.
It went on for a few months, but then Oslo happened.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I had applied until then because
the
those
Oslo
3.
Accords.
Yeah, so like it was right after we discussed that. I was like, let's apply and see what I get. Because I wanted.
I mean, you kind of you said you were exploring options and stuff, so that was something I knew it might happen at any point. So.
But I think I remember we also had to get in touch with Soundham and see what they could offer.
I think you were in touch with the Shilpa
Yeah.
for building some kind of a power supply housing unit and such.
That's true.
Yeah, that was also something you were working on. Like I said, he's always like all options open. So
No, but yeah, like that was my motivation to go to Norway and study music technology. So it's like I wanted to study more technical stuff and build something. Yeah, by the way, I did build something. I didn't. I don't think I shared it with you. But
did
yeah, so for my master's degree, I had this very weird idea of, like guitarists use all their left hand fingers, or let's say the fretting fingers. But when it comes to the right hand, they always use just these, these two things, or let's say classical guitar. And it's not so usually a common you see here people playing with all the four fingers on the right hand. So my idea was like, why not use all these fingers? And so what I did was built okay, let me tell the concept again. When you're playing with your left hand fretting, and when you're going really up near the bridge also, like
top
on
of
the
the neck,
top
yeah.
of the neck, you really can't play anything else on the other side, or you have so many empty bass notes that you could play but you can't.
Okay.
So what I did was put a robotic capo which moves and frets the bass notes, and you can control that with these three fingers.
Okay.
Down there. So you could play and control, like it would be like an
How is it
tertiary.
connected from your right to the
you install
top?
buttons.
It's
on
a
the-
robotic automatic. Or
So is
it's
it something which is
There
lying
are buttons
top
on
of
the
your
guitar.
fret?
Or
Yeah.
There are
Okay.
buttons.
I mean, this was a concept. I also built a prototype for it.
Okay.
Oh.
This was my master degree.
That's,
Yeah,
that's
so
crazy.
that was one of the. I don't think I've shared it much, but yeah.
I would like to see it. Yeah.
It's so the buttons are on the right side, right
Okay.
next to the picking where you pick.
Got it.
So you have like 7 or 8 which you can choose, because I wanted to make it scale based or fret. Instead of making it all 13 or 12 frets that you can choose, let's say you're in scale of G. The third fret is G. Then you press 2, it goes to the next in the scale, and you press 3, it
The
goes to the
next
4.
full
If you
tone.
press 7, it goes behind G.
Oh.
Goes G flat. So I had to, yeah. So that was the whole concept of this system. It's called, I called it Robo Capo.
That sounds so cool.
We roamed the
Robocapo.
whole Raniganj
Robocapo.
to get those,
Yeah, Robo Capo.
those tools. I think we roamed the whole Raniganj. Like me and Lindsay, I think we roamed for about 2 weeks. To get
Yeah,
all these
yeah.
tools.
So I had no experience in building stuff. So I have to give you a little background. I'm electrical engineer, not a mechanical engineer. So I knew how you could wire everything up, but how to build it mechanically, I had no clue. So I set out taking small things and trying to do 3D designs and all that.
Acha.
And then slowly I built it up. And then I came India to buy all the stuff because it's very expensive.
Oh, wow.
So when I was here on holiday, Raniganj mein pura.
Was it fun getting through customs?
No, actually not, because they are just the stuff which
They're
I
just
bought.
components.
Yeah,
not
just
made
components.
into anything.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's not even
Yeah.
expensive. I spent maybe about 4 to 5K. That's
Ah.
it.
Not bad.
Yeah. And it looks really bad because it's a prototype, but I made it working. So yeah, I
That's
can
crazy.
send you guys a
What
link.
was the sentiment around it?
Okay, the sentiment, there's no sentiment. The thing is, my process of ideation is very spontaneous. So I get a
Okay.
lot of ideas and I just write them down,
Okay.
and then I forget about them. And then suddenly after like
Yeah, it sounds
3-4
like our
months, I mean, of course, after like 3-4 months, it's like, oh, what if that idea could fit in here? And then I start working on it, and then it becomes a.
But you
becomes
said
a
you
really
did
big
it for
thing.
masters, right? Did you have to
was
present
a
it at some
project?
point?
No, so this idea came way before my master's degree.
Okay.
In my when I came to my master's degree, I had acquired so much knowledge of what and how music is structured, and like, so the degree which I did was, I would say in a sentence, it's like it's a connection between a bridge between musicians and their instruments.
Okay.
So that's the thing which I studied.
All
So
right.
like how you can bridge the gap, or how you can like So what is like a tool? Is like a guitar or keyboard is just a tool. It's like an extension of the
Body,
person
yeah.
who's playing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, what if you could bring it closer and closer, so that the musician himself can be in the tool, something like that. So that was the whole idea of this thesis I wrote.
Nice.
It's a philosophy, master philosophy.
Nice.
You should show it to us.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because I'm very intrigued.
It was a nice tool, effective tool actually, and I wanted to do a PhD, or I was offered to do a PhD on it.
Okay.
But I was so damn tired of studying for 5
I-
years. Studying.
Understandable, yes.
So then I moved to work, and probably I'll work on it.
You
On
should
a
probably do it
PhD.
on the side if you can.
Yeah, that's
Never
what.
know. You never know.
Never know.
Yeah, but I have tons of ideas that I still need to work on, and actually this is also one of them. It's like knowing what musicians really are, or like, stories such as these, and fun times, your experiences, and how musicians are shaped in general.
Right.
Yeah, because if musicians don't influence each other, it'll sound bad, but we get into this really cover bands kind of thing. It's like we need to be shaping each other also.
Yes.
in this music life, or this generally.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think thanks for joining again, and we can
Thanks for
conclude
having
it
us,
here.
man. Yeah. We are extremely honored to be here.
It was a nice chat.
Not opening
Yeah.
for. Oh, actually opening for.
Are we the opening podcast?
No, actually no.
No? Okay, cool.
But I mean, you off the record, you could be opening. If you
Keep
guys
traditions
want.
going.
Yes.
So much to carry. Aaron and
Your tagline
John.